The opportunities for funding on waterways, there's quite a few out there. Let's start with probably the local, and sometimes there's some local community cost share that when they have that type of budget, there are some districts, conservation districts, that receive some funding from the gambling money in Iowa and from local tax dollars. Not very much, so much in Iowa, but those dollars are out there in some communities. That's your local dollars. The next is state cost share. State cost share comes from the state of Iowa's agricultural funds and also some conservation funds that they have allocated. And they're normally 50% cost shared. So if they're available, the farmer would come in and apply for cost share. He would say, well, and that cost share is especially good if the waterways may be an existing one that needs to be reworked. Or doesn't meet the federal guidelines for cropping, that history, that type of thing. So those cost share funds are allocated to us once a year. And a lot of times it's first come, first serve. The Soil Water Conservation District commissioners decide on who gets funded for that, since that's local control. And they, again, like I said, they're cost shared at 50% usually. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more, depends upon the local need and the local priorities. And then we can talk about what we have as federal funding. Federal funding, there's a couple different sources. One is the Conservation Reserve Program, and that is probably the best paying and the best cost share program that we have out there, because it will pay sometimes up to 90% of the installation cost of the waterway, including the tile and the seeding and the dirt work and everything that's required for that waterway. And it also will pay a rental rate for 10 to 15 years on that waterway. So it's kind of a great program to get into, but you have to meet the cropping guidelines to get into that program and work with the Farm Service Agency, who administers that program, and then NRCS and the district technicians will design the waterway and help with installation. The other one that's available out there is called EQIP, or Environmental Qualities Incentive Program. That one is usually cost shares about 50 to 60% of the practice. It is federal dollars again, administered by NRCS and the Soil Water Conservation District with the local technicians. That one is you apply for it as the money becomes available. Congress allocates that funding every year, and we never know how much we're going to get depending upon the federal budget or how much comes down to each county. And with that, then applications are taken year-round. So the farmer can come in and say, well, next fall after crop's out, I want to try to renovate this waterway or put a new waterway in. And he would sign up. We do a cost estimate and put it in the queue or into our funding requirements or request for funding when we get those funds. And it may take 1 year, sometimes 2 or 3 years before we get that funded. And then he has so much time after he signs his contract to put the waterway in, and then he has to maintain it. So all these programs, again, once you put the waterway in, they come with a maintenance agreement. That maintenance agreement is usually about 10 years. And waterways usually are designed to last about 10 to 20 years. Without too much maintenance, but they all do take some work. So that's probably the list of what funding we have. Besides, the last thing is the farmer can always put his own waterway in and get technical help from the Soil and Water Conservation District and NRCS at the service centers. We'll always do the survey, the engineering design, and checkout for him to help him put in a waterway or repair one. That's a free service. There's no charge at all for that. That's part of the government service we provide.